excited about our speaker this afternoon. And I think, first and foremost, this is a little different for us to be able to have, first of all, this marketing specialist. He does come to us from our corporate location in Chandler, Arizona. Oh, thanks for turning me up here. And here's what he's going to talk about. First of all, I think it's so important to say, as I mentioned, Dr. Colgan has taken the science of Isagenix to a new level. I can tell you, this gentleman has taken this company and the marketing and the opportunities that we're about to really launch into this next year and beyond. He has absolutely taken it to a new level as well. Most importantly, I mean, he has accolades that go off the chart, but I want to tell you the most important one, and it is the theme of this company. He has a heart of gold. He has a heart to serve. He has energy and light that absolutely changes this world. And so with that, I'm going to at least tell you a little bit about Mr. Kevin Andrus. He is recognized as a highly skilled marketing communications leader. He has all the degrees and such. I can tell you his first career was in journalism. His second career was as a healthcare executive. He served as a hospital administrator as well as corporate marketing communications executive for a large healthcare system in California. His in-depth knowledge of the healthcare industry is going to help take us to a level of understanding what's going on not only nationally, but here's the exciting part. He's going to drill it down to what's going on in the Northwest here and how we literally can partner with our healthcare providers to really give them an option of what do we do? How do we prevent? How do we create wellness? And how can their patients and how can their businesses be taken to another level? Please stand and help me welcome Mr. Kevin Andrus.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here. I love coming to the Pacific Northwest. I have friends that live up in Portland and Seattle. This is my first visit here to Spokane, but I'm just excited to be here. It's a lot cooler here. It's 95 in Phoenix today. So I actually got to wear a jacket for the first time in weeks and months, for that matter. But thank you all so much. As Carol mentioned, I want to talk with you a little bit about, we're going to talk about marketing today. We get lots of questions about marketing on a regular basis, and I want to start by just sort of helping you kind of get your head around what marketing is. So many people think of marketing as a tactic. We think of it as, what am I going to do? I need to take out advertising. I need to make flyers. I need to build a website. Those are tactics. Marketing isn't a tactic. Marketing is a strategy. You have to really understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And most people skip that step. When they're building a business, when they're starting a business, whether it's retail, network marketing, whatever it is, they skip that step. They forget to stop and ask themselves, what do I want to achieve? What am I trying to get out of this? It's a strategic communication. And if you can truly understand what you want to have happen and you build your tactics around that, you'll have success. But so many people waste time, money, and energy jumping straight to the tactics. They think it's about the more I do, the better. In marketing, it isn't about the more you do. It's the quality, not the quantity. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. Among the stuff that I want to address with you today, we're going to focus on healthcare. As Carol mentioned, I have a pretty broad background in healthcare. So what I wanted to do for you today, we are a health and wellness company, is I want to take a look at the health and wellness messages that are happening across the country, as well as right here in the Spokane and the Coeur d'Alene markets. So we're going to take a look at what's happening across the country in the terms of healthcare trends, and then we're going to step into the healthcare marketing messages that the people that you are trying to sign up and sell products to, what they're getting from the healthcare providers in this community. And the reason it's important for you to know that is from a strategic perspective, how do you compete? If you don't understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, how can you possibly successfully navigate when you're out there speaking about our products and helping people understand the health and wellness models behind it? So we're going to do that today, have a little bit of time at the end to answer some questions. So let's just kind of jump right in. So when I started in healthcare, healthcare reform was just kind of getting started. And among the many questions that we were getting is, will healthcare be different under Barack Obama's new reforms? Now, this is years ago, right? This is right as Obama had just been elected. That question came up a lot. Are we really going to be able to solve it? And we had a tongue-in-cheek answer. And there was a little bit of truth to this. No, but if you call right now, you might be able to get an appointment by then. Yeah, we all kind of chuckle about it, but the sad thing is that statement's completely true. Completely true. Now, I apologize for the quality of the graphic. It's a little fuzzy because I pulled it off the internet. What you're looking at are the average number of days that you have to wait for an appointment with a physician among some of the greater cities in the country. So I want to point out a few. Let's start over in your neck of the woods. Look up at Seattle, upper left corner. The average patient waits 16 days to see a specialist or to see a primary care physician. Portland, it's gone up a little bit to just under 20. Kind of follow along the country with me. I want to crawl across the northern part of the central U.S. 23 for Denver, another 19 in Minneapolis, Detroit's at 17, Philly's at 20. Look at Boston, 45 days. That's because of supply and demand. Excuse me. As the baby boomers age, there are more patients. As we get older, it's just a fact. We need more health care. As you get older, you need to see a doctor. Your complications exacerbate. Perhaps you see more and more complications because you haven't taken care of yourself as well as you could. Dr. Colgan spoke about that. He said, take care of your brain now, right? Start now. So many of us wait till the problem occurs to start taking care of ourselves. We wait until we have the cancer scare to start addressing what might be causing the cancer, right? We see it every day. So what happens is, as the baby boomers are aging, we have a problem in healthcare right now, and that is the number of practitioners is shrinking. The average physician, the average age of a physician in the United States, the average across the country is in the late 50s. That means that there are fewer younger physicians entering the field. I was having a conversation with the young lady at the back who's studying to be a nurse practitioner. There are more and more nurse practitioners, and there's a reason for that. It's harder to be a doctor these days in the United States. The cost of running a private practice exceeds the revenue. Most doctors graduate with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and right now, they aren't making hundreds of thousands. When I worked in healthcare, I worked in California, which the healthcare system in California is a little different than across the country. But I started in healthcare during the nursing shortage. You guys remember that? It's probably about 12, 15 years ago. The average nurse at my hospital, right out of college, was starting at $100,000 a year, base salary. We were giving her a sign-on bonus of another 10 to 15, and if she worked a shift differential, she could pull down another 10 to 15,000 a year. Imagine you're a brand new graduate right out of school, and you could pull down just under $150,000 a year. Do you know what the average doctor in that same community was earning? They were lucky if they were clearing $100,000 for a private practice doctor. Where those numbers are coming from. There are fewer physicians because our healthcare system is designed to work against it right now. So it just gives you a bird's eye view of what's happening. A couple more statistics just related to that. Certain specialties are worse than others, obviously. To see a dermatologist, the average wait to see a dermatologist, anybody want to make a guess at how long it is? 3 months. There are electronic systems where they are actually now doing remote high-definition cameras in a lot of what you would call satellite locations. And those high-definition cameras are designed so that you would go in, a nurse practitioner would be with you in the room. They would take an image of it. That image would be beamed across country to a dermatologist sitting in an office looking at the high-definition image, and he or she would determine whether or not they needed to do a biopsy, whether you needed any further details. That's because there's so much pent-up demand. Certain parts of the country, it's worse than others. So what's the solution? Any ideas? What would you do? Get healthy, right? Stay healthy. Try not to need a hospital. Try not to need a doctor, right? That's what we all want to do. Yeah, pretty simple. This is a look at healthcare costs across the nation. This is how they compare to the inflation rate. Healthcare, these were from, I think, 2012, yeah. The cost of healthcare in our country has exceeded inflation. It's exceeded the inflation rate. It's the only industry that practically does that. It's crazy. The 11.4 represents Medicare contributions. That's 11.4. The 152 is healthcare insurance for public employees. 144 are other programs, which are like state-run programs, those types of things. And Medicaid is 188. It's kind of scary when you think about it. That's why we're in so much trouble. The rising costs, the shrinking resources. It's inevitable. A poor diet and lack of exercise will leave you unhealthy. I love this particular graphic. Gravity has lowered my chest, my stomach, and my butt. Why hasn't it lowered my cholesterol? Isagenix is there to help address those issues, right? If you eat well, you lose weight. Most health problems, and Dr. Colgan can back me on this, most health problems are related to obesity. Most of them tie right back to weight, and we've got one of the fattest countries on the planet. Sorry, I'm getting over a little bit of a cough, so bear with me. Oh, thank you so much. Yep. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you. So again, we've got to be able to take better care of ourselves. That truly is the solution. So now let's take a look at what's going on right here. I gave you a bird's eye view of what's happening across the country. This is a bird's eye view. We're going to look at marketing messages that people who live in your communities are addressing. So we're going to look at Providence. And by the way, Providence Health is the second largest Catholic health system in the country. Second largest. And it's right in your backyard. It's home-based in Seattle. The largest Catholic health system is in the Midwest. It's in St. Louis, actually. So you've got one of the premier, largest health systems within your region, home-based, right in your backyard. Rockwood, obviously, another one of your big companies, and Kootenai, am I saying that correctly? Kootenai. Kootenai Health System, another one. So these are your key players in your market. I did a little bit of research. We're going to look at their marketing messages, and I'm going to ask you guys to talk a little bit about what you're seeing. So first of all, these are print ads, and these are from Kootenai, I believe. Yeah, these are from Kootenai. I actually love this marketing campaign. I think it's brilliant. So I'm going to read it for those of you who might be at the back of the room. The upper left image of the woman holding the little girl. Technology is amazing, so is Sophie. See if I can read the rest. I'm going to skip up because the next images, here they are. These are a little easier to read. This is their social media. This is their online advertising. The messages are all the same, but in online media, you always shrink down your messaging because people have less time to read it, and there's less real estate to run it. Our awards mean something, but Tom means more. There's Tom with his grandson, probably. It's not just robotic surgery. It's Ken's future. Yeah? The one thing I love about this campaign, having spent many years trying to develop these kinds of campaigns, and it's very difficult to bridge technology and humans. It's not easy because technology comes across very cold, very impersonal. I think they did a brilliant job with it. They reminded you that they have the best technology in the hands of the best physicians, but they also reminded you that they're doing it for you, right? What do you see when you look at these ads? How do they make you feel? Warm and cuddly? What messages are they telling you? Love, family, caring. There's a level of happiness, right? Level of happiness in there. This is Rockwood, working together for you. That's their positioning statement. You'll see it on all of their ads. Personalized care for you. How do you feel when you take a look at these? Let's go back to that. I'm going to go back to the first one here, if it'll let me. There we go. What do you see going on in this picture? Teamwork? Smiles, cared for, you're important, right? I'm going to go back here. What do you see here? A lot of the same? A lot of the same, yeah. Their messaging is very focused where the other health system was focused more on the patient, they're focused more on you and the patient, right? Or the patient and them. They're bridging the gap with the caregiver, right? How do you feel about these ads? Which did you like better? They're for old people. Well, I'm sure that we're not seeing the depth and breadth of the campaign, but you're right. There is a certain target audience that they're reaching. When you look at the first set and this set, which do you like best? First one. Why? More diverse. There's a child. How did the first one make you feel versus this one? More emotional. It appealed to you a little more family-oriented. That's the difference between strategy and tactics. The first one was more strategic. This one is a tactic. They didn't put a whole lot of thought into this one, I assure you. Been there, done that, seen it, probably did this myself at one point in my career. Right? All right. Now we're going to look at Providence. Providence is much larger than these other two health systems. They've got a lot more cash, which means their marketing campaigns can be much more strategic. They probably do a lot of market research. They probably find out what's going on. So we're going to take a look at Providence. This is their ad series. It's not just healthcare, it's how we care. What's going on in the photo? Yeah, he's enjoying his life, right? Having a good time. Same slogan. They're very consistent with their messaging, whereas the One Healthcare tweaked it Rockwood, is that right? They changed theirs a little bit, but they kept the For You. What's going on in this photograph? Have a woman cooking in her kitchen. Either somebody's helping her, maybe it's a relative, a sister, or a friend. Could just be a friend, yeah. Healthy food. Enjoying life. Thank you for that. Enjoying life, right? Here's a third one. What's happening here? Same thing, enjoying life, right? Enjoying life. So we're going to play we're going to watch a few Providence TV commercials. They go with this series. We're going to watch about 4 of them. They're 30 seconds each because a TV commercial is usually 30 seconds. So we're going to play that for you, and then we're going to talk about that before we move on. Let's go ahead.
What matters to me, my family, my work, my free time, making choices that give me peace of mind.
Thank you.
That's why I chose Providence Medical Group. They give me convenience with a clinic right in my neighborhood. They give me online options for making appointments or emailing my doctor. I chose Providence because of how they make me feel. Supported, listened to, cared for.
At Providence, it's not just healthcare, it's how we care.
I certainly didn't plan to go to the hospital, but when I needed help, I went to Providence. Providence not only cared for me as a patient, they cared for me as a person. That's what you hear from everybody. It's how they care for you that makes them special. I'm here today because of Providence.
Providence Health and Services is a network of hospitals, clinics, home services, and health plans. At Providence, it's not just healthcare, it's how we care.
Our kids are what you call high energy, so we go to the doctor a lot. Thanks to Providence Health Plan, we can see our neighborhood doctor. We're totally covered for things like yearly checkups, and we can call a Providence nurse 24/7. As crazy as things get, it's nice not to worry about health coverage. That's peace of mind.
Learn more about us at providencehealthplan.com. At Providence Health Plan, it's not just healthcare, it's how we care.
When I closed the door to my classroom, I ended one of the best chapters of my life and started a new one. Now, I have the freedom to finally learn how to cook, the freedom to reinvent myself, the freedom to choose my own doctor, the freedom to enjoy life without having to worry about my health coverage. Now that's peace of mind.
Enroll in a Providence Medicare Advantage plan. At Providence Health Plan, it's not just healthcare, it's how we care.
Gives you the full perspective now, right? That one woman was a teacher, right? She's looking at retirement. She's moving forward. Well, we've talked a little bit about the overall arching message. What I wanted to kind of share with you is there is one common thread to all of this. While each of these health systems approaches it a little differently, they are all using what's called values-based marketing. Values-based marketing appeals to our fundamental core values as human beings. This is the beauty to Isagenix. Isagenix is already doing this. Dr. Colgan actually walked you through a little bit of this earlier today. When he said love, kiss slowly, Remember those words of advice? Values-based marketing. It appeals to our fundamental core values. What that means is, as human beings, we all, at our core, want the same thing. We all want to be happy. We want to be healthy. We want to be well, and we want financial security. There's not one person in this room, in this hotel, in this city, state, country, or on this planet that does not want those things. Strategic messaging and strategic marketing leverages those points. It doesn't get caught up in the muck. It focuses on speaking to someone at their core. You can never go wrong if you market this way. And you may not include all of them. You may choose one or two, whatever works for you depending on who you're speaking with. Earlier I had a couple of folks come up to me saying, how do I get in and work with doctors? How do I talk to a doctor? Well, you don't talk to a doctor the way you talk to somebody on the street. Doctors are scientists. They're evidence-based practitioners. They want to hear the evidence. Everything Dr. Colgan walked you through, that's what you want to share with a doctor. They want to know, how can you help their patient, and how can you demonstrate to them that the product is credible? Through facts. Evidence-based medicine. That's what most doctors practice. That's what they like. But when you are talking to somebody, any prospect out there, I assure you, you will not go wrong if you keep your messaging focused here. Keep it happy, healthy, well, financial security. It may change a little bit depending on who you're talking to, but that's what values-based marketing is. It plays off of our core human values, the things that every human being values no matter what. Some people have subsets of this. Some people value their car more than others, right? You're never going to win going there because it's too specific. It's too specific to an individual. Our products are already designed to address core values. That's the beauty to Isagenix. We have given you the tools to be happy, healthy, well, and we've developed the mechanism to help you achieve financial security and freedom. That's the way you start to talk about our products when you're messaging to people. You really start at their core value. Build from there. Isagenix is light years ahead of most companies because we have all of the mechanisms and tools that are right there in place to help you transform lives. You can help anyone achieve those goals. When you ask somebody what their goals are, the majority of the time, their goal is going to be one of those values that we talked about. They want to be healthier. They want to be wealthier. They want to be wiser. They want to be more free. And you're able to start the conversation right there. You know, you say, you know, if you could change one thing about your life, what would it be? I'd love to have more energy. That's great. You know what? I can help you do that. If I could help you do that today, would you follow me? Who's going to say no to that? Right? And you do. You have the tools. You have the tools. Some of it starts with an isoline shake. Some of it moves on to Ageless Essentials for healthy aging. No matter what their goal is, you have a tool that's readily available. Joni talked a little bit earlier about the direct selling industry. I wanted to show you why you're sitting in a chair at the right time, the right place, with the right company. This is a look at direct selling. Direct selling is responsible for $32 billion in the United States. That's just a U.S. statistic. Health and wellness leads the way. Health and wellness is the largest growing. In fact, these numbers are a couple of years old. Look at the second set of bars. That's wellness right there. It's the fastest growing. It's the leader at 27%. I can tell you right now that's closer to 30%. That's how quickly it's growing. It's up closer to 30% at this point. So just keep in mind, when you look across all of the direct selling options, clothing, accessories, leisure, service, personal care, home and family care, wellness is the leader. It's the fastest growing out of all of those. And it continues to outpace them and to put a bigger distance between itself and the rest of them. That's why you're in the right place. Being with a health and wellness company right now in direct selling, in network marketing, it's the right decision. These statistics come from the Direct Selling Association. They do surveys every year. So let's talk about your audience. So before I came here, I did a little bit of research, and I was told that there are some people who think that your audience is, that you guys are just tapped. There's no more room for growth in Spokane for Isagenix. I'm going to share some hard, cold, sobering statistics for you. Let's talk about Generation Y first, okay? The millennials, as they're referred to. These are those 20-something, early 30-something crowds. I see a few of you out there in the group today. Okay, so when you look at Gen Y, they're spreading out across the country. They're not afraid to move around. They're not afraid to try new things. Washington is becoming one of the number one top 5 states to attract Gen Y. Seattle is the number 1 city. That's the number 1 city where millennials are choosing to go. Now, I've got some news for you and those of you in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Do you know how expensive it's getting to live in Seattle? It's pushing right close to San Francisco. I assure you, they won't be choosing Seattle forever. They'll start to branch out. They'll start to push out into surrounding areas. They're choosing this part of the country for many reasons. We actually did research at Isagenix on it because we wanted to understand the demographic better. They're choosing it because of the quality of life. They like it. They like this part of the country. They enjoy what it has to offer in terms of the culture, in terms of the environment. The median income for a Gen Y person in Seattle is $45,000 a year. Carol, how quickly could you, just give me an estimate, and this is just an estimate, how quickly could you teach someone in that demographic to double $45,000 a year? If you have vision, hard work, and drive, you could double your income. So you could go from $45,000 to $90,000. Working with a seasoned marketer, seasoned network marketer, putting the effort into it. Isagenix, our growth itself has been is unprecedented right now. When I started the company back in January, by the way, when I started the company, I get the daily sales reports. I see how much money we're making every day and every week and every month. The global daily sales are up 2.8, and actually, since I built this, they're at 3. $3 million a day. When I joined in January, we were at half that. That's how much we've grown in 10 months. That's global. Australia has a lot to do with that. Those Aussies are just rocking it right now. Global daily recruitment is at around 2,000. That's up. It's at 2,000 a day. 2,000 new associates a day, up from 973 in January. Now's the time to get in. You've made the right decision to be here today. You don't want to wait another year, because in another year there's going to be many more people out there. You want to get in now, and you want to start to build your business now. Our future at Isagenix is so bright that we got to wear shades. This photograph is the home office. Back in April, we celebrated that we achieved $500,000 in total sales for the year. That goal was set a year earlier, so it was April to April. We achieved it in February. We achieved it ahead of schedule. I can tell you right now that the home office, our goal was $500,000 for the current year, right? We hit it. We're probably going to close the year at about 750, just under 750. That's how much we're growing and how quickly we're growing. We will be $1 billion company in the next year. And the opportunity is there for all of you. I mentioned statistics. I wanted to go back to that one stat that I talked about here in your local market. So the concerns that there's not enough space for you in the market here, well, I hate to break it to you, but there's tons of space for you. So Carol asked me to do a little bit of research. She asked me to look into it, so I pulled the numbers. I had our team back at the home office pull the numbers. These are just Spokane. They do not include Coeur d'Alene, but obviously you're part of the same market. You're a hyphenated market. In Spokane alone, the population, the 2013 census population was just a little over 200,000 people. Isagenix currently has 816 active associates in the Spokane market. 816 active. 816 active out of 200, it's somewhere around 220,000 people. Of the 800,000, 20% of them are business builders. The rest of them are just product users. 163 people are actively working on building a business. If you divide and do the math, you take 163 into the 208,000 people, That leaves every single one of that 163 just under 1,300 prospects to recruit into their business. That's all. If you could recruit 10% of that, what do you think that would do to your business? Right? The opportunity's there. That means there are 208,000 lives that you can help. You can help them get healthier. You can help them get wealthier. You can help them achieve better aging. It's all there. It's at your fingertips. But how do you do it? Strategic, folks. Be strategic. Don't just go out there and think it's as simple as just talking. You have to understand the people you're speaking with. And you have to tailor your messaging. What's important to Joni Brewer is not necessarily the same thing that's important to Carol Waldenberg or to me. We each come with different perspectives. We're different ages. We're different demographics. So where I am is not in the same place that potentially Carol is. So you don't walk in and take a cookie-cutter approach to speaking to me. Do you remember when Joni said, she was talking earlier about the importance of helping them understand? What she was telling you is, find out what their goals are. Find out what's important to them. Don't write an elevator speech and approach everybody with the same elevator speech. Because if you do, you're wasting your time. And when you are self-employed, your time is your money. You get one good opportunity to make a good first impression. That's called a net impression. Every single person creates a net impression. When I took this stage, every single one of you was looking me up and down. You started forming an opinion of me before I even began to speak. It happens every single day. It happens to you. The second you walk into a room, they look at you, and they start to figure out who you are before you've had a chance to tell them. It's up to you to change how they think. It's up to you to create the net impression that will give them the meaning behind Isagenix. You know, if you go in and you don't listen to them, you're just there pushing your message, guess what? What's their impression of you? Pushy, right? But if you rather sit down and ask them, if you sit down and you say, Janice, if you could change one thing about your health and wellness, what would it be? And Janice says, I'd like to lose 15 pounds. And your response is, I can help you do that. If I could help you do that today, Janice, would you start the process with me today? You've made it their decision. You've made it their idea. You haven't told them what they needed. You've helped them understand what they need, and you've presented them with the solutions, right? There's a solution up here that will address practically every need. It sits up there on this table. It's there for everyone. It's up to you to think strategically as you're marketing. You do not need to go spend a lot of money to market your Isagenix business. What you need to do is to be strategic with how you communicate. Marketing nowadays is a piece of cake compared to what it was when I started in the business. Social media and digital media have changed the world. You can get a good Facebook following, and if you are strategic in how you communicate, you can get there. Now I'm going to give you a disclaimer, because at Isagenix we're big on disclaimers, because it's important that everybody knows that what works for one of you isn't necessarily a guarantee for the next person, because it all depends on the individual amount of commitment, passion, and work that they put into it. My first event was Top Achievers. That's where I actually met Carol, and I met Joni at Top Achievers back in, I guess it was April, Joni, is that right? March or April, somewhere in there. And at that event, I was brand new. This is my first event, and I'm walking around just absorbing. I spent my first 3 months just listening, learning, understanding our company, learning about our products, the science behind our products, and I will never forget, it was our first night, and we were supposed to be outside for a reception. And we were going to be outside. We were in Newport Beach at the Ritz-Carlton. That's where our Top Achievers were. We hosted them there. And the wind kicked in off the coast, and it was cold and chilly. So we moved it inside. Well, I didn't get the news that we moved it inside. Somebody else got our outside spot. They were having a barbecue. And as I'm walking down, I get down there and I'm like, this isn't right. We weren't supposed to do a barbecue. And so I immediately started kind of moving around, and I ran into one of my coworkers, and they said, oh yeah, they moved us inside. We're upstairs in one of the ballrooms. It was a room much like this. And as I was walking back, I saw this young woman pushing, she was in her sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and her husband was wearing shorts and a sweatshirt, and they were pushing a stroller. And I formed a net impression of who they were without asking. They were clearly lost. They were a lot like me. And I said, "Oh, are you looking for the event that's out on the patio?" And they said, "Yes, we are." I said, "Yep, it's right through those doors, and they're out there." She went out that way, went about her business, plugged in with her team, went up, got herself some barbecue, sat down, ate some barbecue. The next morning, that young woman was in an Isagenix meeting and walked up to me and said, "You steered me to the wrong meeting." She was one of our up-and-comers. She was there to receive our Rising Star Award. Her name is Angela Maresca. She is based out of New York. She started her Isagenix business as a product user, nothing more. And she's about my age. I think she's a couple years younger than me. And she wanted to lose some weight. She's always kind of been the chubby kid. And she got married, had babies, and like most women, put on some extra weight during pregnancy. So she found the products. I'm not even really quite sure. She and I have become very good friends, but I'm not even quite sure how she got the products, who introduced the products to her. So Ange took a picture of herself because someone told her to. When she enrolled, they said, "Take a picture of yourself and hang on to it." So she took a picture, she started the products, and as she started losing weight, she started posting the pictures and the products on the internet. This is the power of digital media. Ange told me that within months she was earning 6 figures through Isagenix, and all she did was post her photographs on her Facebook page. And every girlfriend she had from high school wanted to know how she was doing it. And so she started enrolling them, not even aware of what she was doing. She didn't even realize she was building a business. Her words to me were, "Kevin, I am here today to speak to these top achievers to understand how do I keep getting the money I'm getting, because I didn't even realize I was going to get a check till I got it in the mail." She is now earning over $250,000. She's been with Isagenix less than 2 years. She's done it all on the internet. But do you know how she did it? She was strategic. She just talked about how she was doing it. She showed the results. She told them how she was getting the results. And the next thing we know, Sally Sue from high school is like, "Give me a piece of that." "Okay, here's what you got to do. Let me sign you up." She enrolls Sally, right? And then you know what she did after she reached her goals? She stopped putting her pictures up and she started putting Sally's pictures up. She celebrates her team members every day on her Facebook pages. The world is your oyster, guys. Build a network. Be strategic about how you communicate, how you market. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You need to be a good communicator. You need to think about what you're trying to say. You need to think about the venue and who you're trying to reach. Tailor the messaging and just go for it. Any questions? Yes. The number one mistake that we associates might do, I think, in terms of marketing or just in general? Either? Sure. Okay, I can speak to both. I think you leap in before you look. You decide you're going to start, and you don't think about what you're going to do before you start. That's where the strategy comes in. You know, we get in such a hurry. Network marketing is a fast-paced business, and that's a good thing. But sometimes it can be too fast. And we talked about creating that net impression. The worst thing you can do is to create a bad net impression. You want to create a positive net impression. So before you step in, reach out to your sponsor, get some coaching. Tell them. Don't be afraid to say, "I'm nervous. I'm afraid of this." I think the biggest problem we have as human beings, we're afraid to be vulnerable. And that's just ridiculous. You know what? Own your fear. Don't let it control you. Own it. I tell my boss every day, this was my first job in network marketing. I go into Adriana Lynch, she's our senior VP of marketing. I go into her office every day and I say to her, "I need you to go to a meeting with me because I'm in over my head on this one." Okay, she says, what do you need me to do? I'll start the meeting. I said, and when I signal to you, it means I've lost where I'm going, and I need you to jump in. And that's what a team is all about, right? And you know what the funny thing is? Audrey has a deep background in marketing. My background is in strategic communications. She'll tell you she's not a good communicator. She'll tell you, I'm a great marketer, but I'm not good at communication. And Audrey will tell you, that's why Kevin works for me. I worked for Audrey 8 years ago at a corporate health system. She recruited me here because she saw that she had a weak area, and I came here because my weakest area is in product marketing. And I said, I'll come there and help you, and you're going to teach me how to do that. You tag team it. Go in with somebody. Don't be afraid to bring your sponsor. Think through, who am I talking to, and what's the message? When I mentioned earlier we were having the conversations about physicians, physicians are scientists. They're scientists. Talk to them about the science behind the products. Don't go in there talking about the business opportunity with them. That's not going to get their attention. Unless their practice is going belly up and they need a source of revenue. And most of them, that's not the case. Talk about the science behind the products. You know, and I'm not going to jump into somebody who's necessarily been a homemaker for the last 10 years and her husband just got laid off. I'm probably not going to start the conversation with the science. I'm probably going to start the conversation with her about how she's feeling, how is life treating you, where are you, how can I help you feel better, and then I lead into the business conversation down the road, right? Meet them where they are. Don't expect them to meet you where you are. If you're here to build a business, don't expect them to be there to help you build a business or to want to do it themselves. Help them meet their goals, and it will come. The Angela Marescas of the world are your number one clients in most cases. They want to lose a little weight. They want to feel a little better. And then all of a sudden, I'll be gosh, they're building a business. They didn't intend to. Angela will tell you, I had no desire to build a business until the money started rolling in. Now she's like, I need to meet the Joni Brewers of the world because I want to make sure the money keeps rolling in. She and her family, this is my favorite, I'm friends with her on Facebook. She and her family, they live in New York City. She's multi-generation New York City, her husband. They've always lived in apartments that they've rented because to buy a home in New York is expensive, right? She and her husband just closed on a house last month in the suburbs because of her and her Isagenix business. And she posted just last week, in fact, it was so funny, I was up looking, she reached a new rank advancement and we sent her some luggage with Isagenix logo on it. That was the gift from the system office, or from the corporate office, with the systems inside the pack. She posted it. She loves the company. It's freed her. It's given her family an opportunity that for generations her family's never had. Right? What other questions do you have? Yes?
Yep. Test.
Okay. So for those of us who are stepping in that transition process from being an associate and trying to build our own success and now trying to step into that leadership role and failing forward as we do, but when you have people on your team who want to build that income and who definitely see the vision but feel very intimidated by it, one struggle I've had is in communicating with them in a way that is encouraging but doesn't make them feel like I'm just saying you should do this, you should do that, and then they just feel like this is so much, I don't know if I can do it. Yeah. You know, walking that fine line and how to effectively communicate in a way to help them feel empowered but not overwhelmed.
Yeah. So I have a personal rule of thumb. I never should anybody. And I've learned never should your spouse, because that never goes well. That was the first realization for me, that should is never a good word, right? People don't like to be told what to do. So my coaching advice from a communications perspective is help them come to the realization on your own. When you become a leader, whether it's at a corporate level or within your respective areas, you're a counselor. You're a guidance counselor. And if you go to the therapist's office, how often does a therapist tell you what you need to be doing? A good therapist never tells you what you need to be doing. A good therapist talks you through it and helps you realize what you should be doing. That's your role as a leader. Your role as a leader is to find out, and I would start with questioning. You know, when you put yourself in the place of a therapist. What do? They bring you into their office, they sit you down, and what do? They start by asking questions, right? And then they get you to reflect on their own answers, right? Do the same with them. When they say, I'm frustrated, it's just not working. Well, why do you think it's not working? Well, I'm doing everything I can. Really? What are you doing? And how is that working for you? If you could change one thing about what you're doing, what would that be? Nothing, I'm doing it. But if there were just one thing you could change, what would it be? Don't let them off the hook, right? I guarantee you there's always something. When they say there's nothing, I'm doing it perfectly, they know they're not doing it perfectly. And if they say I'm doing it perfectly, you say, well, then why isn't it working? Right? When Carol said, Kevin, get me the statistics on the market because we have some people locally who think the market's tapped, she could have looked at them and said, no, it's not. Just get out there and go sell, right? Would that have worked? No. She calls me and says, Kevin, do me a favor. Find out what the stats are. Now she's armed with factual information. People can't argue facts. They argue opinion. So keep it factually focused when you're speaking with them. Drill down on it. Why is it working? Why is it not working? It could be something they're doing right or something they're doing wrong, or it could be how they're doing it. I will tell you, best advice I could give any of you, I am a practitioner when it comes to communications. I've spent my entire career. I was a broadcast journalist for 15 years. I spent my entire previous career in front of a TV camera speaking to thousands of people every day, live over TV. It is not what you are saying, it is how you are saying it in most cases. Your nonverbal communication will undermine you more so than your verbal. So what my guess is, if you drill down on it and you make them role play with you, you'll see the problem. Okay, I'm a prospect. Sell me. Enroll me. Get me enrolled right now. Get me to open an account right now. Make them do it. Make them be serious about it, and watch them. I guarantee you their body language probably has a lot to do with it. If it's, you know, when it was Carol and Joni were talking earlier about network marketing and the tough question of the pyramid scheme. Do you know the second that question comes at you, the second they see you flinch, you've lost answering it. The second they see you sweat, you've lost it. Your credibility's gone. Rehearse the tough questions. Be ready. And on that note, when it comes to a tough question, never own the negative language. Are you a pyramid scheme? No, we are not a pyramid scheme. Never own it. How many of you remember Richard Nixon? What's he famous for? What's his most famous quote? I am not a crook. Right? I am not a crook. That image is burned into his brand for the rest of his career and well into his death. Never own the negative language. When someone says, are you a pyramid scheme? We are a sound, tested, and solid, proven business model that has worked for more than 75 years. Answer it with the affirmative of what you are. Never speak to what you're not. Never own the negative language. Don't speak to what you're not. Speak to what you are. So if someone says to you, are you a pyramid scheme? We are a time-tested and proven business model that has worked for more than 75 years and has provided families across a broad industry with financial freedom and an improved quality of life. That's how I would answer it. If they push on you again, because they might, remember, Carol said sometimes you just let them go, you free them if they're not going to get there. If they push on you again and they say, yeah, but isn't network marketing a pyramid scheme? Well, you know, I can't speak to that business model that you're asking me about because we're not that. And I don't know anything about that business model. I've never been a part of that. So it's inappropriate for me to speculate on that business model. I can tell you what a good, solid, proven business model is like because that's what we are. Would you like me to speak about that? Don't go down that path with them, right? Don't let them lead you down that path. We aren't what they're asking you about, so why would you talk about it? Cut it off. Just end it. you know what, I really don't know anything about that business model that you're asking about because that's not who we are. So I can't really speak to that, and it would be really inappropriate for me to speculate on that. But what I can tell you is I can talk to you about what we are, and that is a time-tested and proven business model for more than 75 years that has has provided people with financial freedom and improved quality of life. Would you like me to talk to you about how that works? Right? Stay focused on the positive. Talk about what you are. Don't talk about what you're not. Any other questions? Okay, I am out of time.
All right. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for Kevin. Woo! Thank you, Kevin.